2, 3. I have horns. It's 6 a.m. Just turned 6 a.m. actually. I'm doing something I have not done in a while, which is going back to yoga. I used to be on a pretty good yoga routine. I started noticing this weekend how incredibly tight my hamstrings, backs of my legs are. I actually got an email from somebody asking about what I do to stay, not necessarily in shape, like in fitness shape, but just in shape for playing the saxophone physically. And it got me thinking that I'm really not in good shape. I'm not doing what I should be to take care of my body. And I chalk it up to there not being enough time, but let's be real. If you don't take care of your body, what is the phrase? It's like that's the only home you really have to live in. So
Good morning.
So my office has been a mess for way too long, like way too long. This stuff has to go. This is just, and I don't do well with like trying to deal with it one piece at a time. What I find works better is Hi. Don't do that. What do you mean you're scraping it on the floor?
Like that.
Nope. Not, that's an outdoor thing, dude. Yeah? Door. Don't do that. Don't scrape the floor, buddy. No. Can you stop, please?
Remember when I used to put that in the computer?
These are the other end of shipping labels. Like when I sign and send out a CD, you know, I do the fulfillment in-house. You know, half the label goes on your envelope, and then this is like my receipt. It's a time-consuming process. But knowing that on the other end is you with some headphones on, maybe, I recommend them. Listening to this music and enjoying it, that is the greatest feeling. It makes all the time, effort, expense, everything worthwhile. So thank you so much for supporting the music. All right, semi-clean slate. Well, clean slate here, that's a big improvement. That only took, I don't know, 5 minutes. That I'm gonna have to deal with a little later. It's 6 a.m. or almost 6 a.m. Aiming for day 2 of morning yoga. It's like Twyla Tharp says in her wonderful book, The Creative Habit. It's not the gym at 6 a.m. that's the routine. It's the cab at 5:30. That was actually easier than I thought, considering I only got about 4.5 hours sleep last night. So what I'm doing today is finally going through some of these banker's boxes that I've just been piling stuff into from my desk. Problem is I had not 1, not 2, but 3 of these boxes piling up. And today is a little bit of a day of reckoning for them. I started like archiving some things. So I'm making sense. I'm putting stuff in these boxes, putting stuff in this folder, like things I want to save, just little mementos, little whatever. Pictures of my daughter, cards from my grandmother. The New York Times, when I was in the New York Times magazine, I don't have the picture of it. That was pretty cool. I wrote some articles that for Woodwind and Brasswind. That's an article I wrote on reeds. I wrote an article for my alma mater for Berklee College of Music. My first and so far only woodshed article. And stuff that needs to be thrown away. Needs action. The trick is 1 box at a time, and from that box, 1 element. This is not my idea, by the way. Great book called Getting Things Done by David Allen. I read it years ago. I don't think I ever bought it. I was living in New York at the time. I think what I did was I went into Barnes and Noble stores. For those of you who are young, those are bookstores. We used to have these things called bookstores, and it was a store that sold books and magazines, and you would go into them. In New York, in Union Square, mostly people went in there to use the bathroom. So I would walk around New York at various times and go into different bookstores and pick up the same book because I was like, I didn't have enough money to buy the book, or I couldn't justify buying the book. And so I would just go into different bookstores and like find the book I was looking for. And I would sit down, and this was before cell phones. I couldn't like take a picture of it. This was before Amazon or any of that. And I would just read it. Sometimes I maybe would take notes, but I would just read the book, like pretend like I was gonna buy it, read the book, and go to a different bookstore at a different time at a different Barnes & Noble and pick up where I left off. And one of the things I got from that book, GTD, Getting Things Done, was just the idea of getting, like, sometimes you just have to get everything out of your head, just clear the decks. You'll feel less stress if you know that you have a trusted place where you've written down things you need to do, things you need to get to. So whether that's a calendar, a journal, whatever. I run into problems when you have multiple buckets, as David calls them. But one of the things that I really remember taking away from it was like, deal with when you have papers and stuff like this. There's a woman named Marie Kondo who wrote a book called The Life-Changing Art of Tidying Up. Similar concept. Just deal with one object at a time. Just process it, move on. It's a great feeling when you get through with it. My mom found this recently. Look, this is from my first. This is from my first. Actually, it's from my second concert, really, in life, and my second Kenny G concert. They're one and the same. July 26th, 1993. You notice at the top it says Starbucks Coffee presents. See where it says Starbucks Coffee? And I remember thinking, what the heck is Starbucks? Like, coffee back then was Maxwell House and Folgers. As far as I know, true story, it turns out that, what's his name, Howard Schultz, his parents were friends with the Gorelics, as in Kenny Gorelick, as in Kenny G. And I guess Kenny G's parents convinced him he should invest in Howard Schultz's company. Kenny G is a smart guy, a wealthy guy. He went to college for accounting, not for music. See earlier video about should I go to Berkeley? And he invested early on in Starbucks, and Starbucks backed some of his concerts. So I guess that's what you might call a win-win. Look what else I just found. This is from a couple of years ago. This is my son. He's not even a year old. Look at this. This is amazing. I mean, another thing I found while I've been cleaning up here was this this box from Sam Ormanson and his kids. Sam is a band director outside of Portland, Oregon, who brought me up there for some masterclass clinic stuff. Super great guy. Sam, you sent me this, I think 2 Christmases ago, and it was right around the time we were moving. And so I got it, but then it got like lost and it's been a while, but thank you for the socks. I really appreciate these. And please thank your boys for these really awesome coasters. Look, they made these out of popsicle sticks, and they're hand stained and everything. Super cool, thank you. Oh, another thing I found. William Flynn, a guitarist that I met at a clinic in Iowa, South Dakota, sent me his CD. It's really cool. It's 6 songs, covers of Radiohead, Jewel, Oasis, Smashing Pumpkins, and 9 Inch Nails. Totally up my alley. I really like the versions of the Radiohead tunes. I think they're my favorite. All right, I'm off to a recording session. Got something today where I need to do like a Brazilian tune, kind of lay down some Stan Getz vibe stuff. Also right up my alley. So like the bass line is kind of going like 1, 2. Okay. All right, good recording session. That was like, could have been a mini masterclass or Berklee College of Music course in saxophone styles. I was asked to play in the style of Eddie Harris, Stan Getz, Jan Garbarek, to play really quiet and fluttery so that you could hear the saxophone keys, to play very out, to play very inside, to play very bluesy. One of the songs was Wave. The guy asked, hey, can you play Wave? Do you happen to know the melody to Wave? And I did. I know it from years of playing wedding gigs in New York. I don't think I've never played Wave at like a jazz jam session. So all within the span of a couple hours, a lot of territory was covered. And I say this because the ability to play tunes and play changes in time accurately and really outline that stuff and have just a fundamental grasp of that kind of material, and be familiar with like what it sounds like to play quiet like and fast like Joe Henderson, or to play very bluesy but in the altissimo range and rhythmically like Eddie Harris, or to play very legato and melodic like Stan Getz. You know, to have that kind of knowledge sort of in your backpack to pull those things out as needed. You know, they don't make me less me. They just make me able to adapt to more situations. So